Now let's have a look at property portfolios. This is one of the advanced features of RedRabbit that you don't have to use at all. However, it provides a nice mechanism for you to separate your data into different portfolios and to then be able to specify which users have access to which portfolios. So to see which portfolios you already have in your system, you can go to Settings and then click on the Portfolios tab in the form. Now, in my case, I've already created a couple of portfolios, and this is basically the portfolio name and the authorized users on that portfolio. So to add a new portfolio, you simply click on New Portfolio and provide a name. Let's say New Test Portfolio. Now you'll note the system automatically added 3 users as authorized users on this portfolio. So let's see why that is. Let's have a look at Werner and Walter Bishop. So if I go to the user Werner, you can see that his portfolio access is set to all portfolios. So this means whenever a new portfolio is created, that user must automatically have access to that portfolio. And the same will count for Walter Bishop and Hein too. Now typically, users can only see maintenance tickets, inspections, and properties that are linked to portfolios on which they are authorized. So if we, for instance, look at Rian Damons, he is only authorized on selected portfolios. And if I have a look at my portfolios, you'll see that he's authorized on the Edgemeet Office portfolio, my new portfolio, and Satellite Office 2. So if I go to his login, just to give you an example, you can see that his home dashboard looks significantly different because all of the queries and all of the filters are based on the portfolios to which he has access. So he, for instance, you can only see 7 properties. And you'll find the same when you go to his maintenance tickets or inspections. It'll only show inspections or maintenance tickets linked to properties that are within portfolios that he is authorized on. So the reason why you can work with RedRabbit without giving any regard to the whole portfolio thing is because all properties by default are linked to a default portfolio. You'll also note this is the only portfolio that you cannot delete. So when you create a property and you don't specify a portfolio other than default, then it is linked to the default portfolio and all users have access to the default portfolio. Now let's have a look at how we would modify a portfolio so that other people can have access or not have access to it. So if we take, for instance, this My New Portfolio, you can see that there's 8 properties linked to that portfolio, and these are the users that are authorized on this portfolio. In other words, any of these users can log in and they will see all the properties, maintenance tickets, and inspections linked to this portfolio. Now, let's say, for instance, we don't want Rian Damons to be able to see any properties in this portfolio, then we can just unlink him by clicking on the little link icon. And let's say the same for Hein 2 and Bianca Ungerer. Alright, so that's how you would remove a user from a specific portfolio. Now, to authorize a user, simply click on Authorize Users here at the top, and this will show you a list of all the users that are not authorized on this portfolio yet. So to put them back, you can simply select them and click Continue. Now, in terms of the properties, it obviously shows you the list of properties that are linked to this specific portfolio. And also note that a property can only be linked to one portfolio at a time. So in this case, if I want to move a property to a different portfolio, I can click on this icon next to the property, and it's going to ask me to which portfolio do I want to move it. And it will then take it out of this portfolio and link it to the other portfolio. Another way to do this is to go to the property itself, click Edit, and then select the portfolio you want to move it to. Now let's say you want to move properties to a new portfolio in bulk. Let's say alphabetically, for instance. Then you will create a new portfolio, sorry, and you can say properties A, and then you can open that portfolio, and you can use this option at the top to say move properties to this portfolio. And then you can filter, for instance, by the letter A. Or in this case, we're going to have to sort. and we can select all the properties that start with an A. In this case, only a couple of them, and we say continue, and those properties will be moved from whatever portfolio they're currently linked to this portfolio. So you can either move it away from a portfolio one by one, or move it to a different portfolio by using this menu, move properties to this portfolio option here at the top. Now, lastly, let's quickly have a look at the other options. If I go to any user, let's go to this Rian Daemons. Right, so the three options here are basically, the first one is all portfolios. So in other words, this user will have access to all the portfolios, and what happens is when you select that, it automatically gets added to all the existing portfolios, and whenever a new portfolio is created, that user is inserted into the authorized portfolios, authorized users on that portfolio automatically. When you select the option default and selected portfolios, then this user will have access to the default portfolio, as well as any ones that you specifically authorize him to have access to. And the last option is to only have access to selected portfolios. So if you select this, he will be removed, his access will be removed from the default portfolio, and he will only have access to portfolios on which you specifically authorize him. So that is how you can use the portfolios to break your properties up into different sections, and then you can specify which users can see which portfolios. And this is a really nice way to separate the data of your different agents if they prefer to do everything themselves. So if you have users that manage all the maintenance and all the inspections and all the data for their own little piece of your total portfolio, then this is a very nice way to go about it. However, as I mentioned, if you don't want to separate the data, you don't have to do anything at all. All you need to do is whenever you create a new property, or if a property comes in from the feed, you just leave it on default, and then everybody has access to everything.